What's going on, people? We are back at it again with another episode of RCC Studies. I'm John, and this is...
I'm Ramon.
All right, man. Let's get right into our passage. V, today we are in Romans chapter 6, verses 12 through 14. Let me read our passage and we can get into it. It says, "Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, to make you obey its passions. Do not present your members to sin as instruments for unrighteousness, but present yourself to God as those who have been brought from death to life, and your members to God as instruments for righteousness. For sin will have no dominion over you, since you are not under law, but under grace." So basically, as you hear that, what are some things that strikes out to you? There's a lot of stuff here. You can see the contrast here as well. But in terms of feelings and emotions as you read this, because I think the Bible, a lot of times when we read passages, we should read it in a way that's like, man, how do we feel about that? What is it? And almost kind of like a self-examination. Mm-hmm. So what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those passages I would encourage you not just to read it and just think abstractly, like, oh yeah, Christians shouldn't do that. But like really, I literally thought of, I mean, I don't look like this, but thought of myself. Imagine yourself, literally take a breath, close your eyes, and think of yourself. And you know, it says this: your members, it's your body, your parts, your heart, your mind, the things that you say, the things you look at, the things that you do. What does it look like as you go through your day? Are you, for someone to look at your life, if you were to sort of step outside of your body and look at yourself, would you say it's being presented as an instrument of unrighteousness or an instrument of righteousness? Your body is this being that God has created. How is it being used? How would you characterize it? I mean, this is one of those things that's meant to resonate with you. Is it? Would you say, yeah, it's the way my life looks, the way my body looks, if I don't really step outside and look, it looks like it's been dominated by sin? Or is it dominated by God and by righteousness? And those are good questions, I think, to ask and then to begin to really draw out, how is it dominated this way?
So you're really drawing on this instruments for unrighteousness and instruments for righteousness, right? That's what you're really talking about in terms of the contrast and how are our bodies being presented.
Yeah. What are we presenting our bodies for? Are we presenting it to God, or are we presenting it to sin? And that begins to help us even unpack some of the other strong language that's here. That sin is not meant to reign, right, in our mortal body. We're not to obey its passions. We're to let it have dominion over us.
It's almost kind of feeling like there's like a control or this like entrapment or this person like telling you to do something.
Exactly. And I think that's real. That's real. Sometimes when you think of the thoughts that come into your mind, the words that come into your mouth when you're most angry, when you're most upset, when you're most distracted, what are the things you instantly click on? What are the things that you tend to laugh at that you probably shouldn't laugh at? What are the thoughts that come to mind when you see someone who's different from you? All those type of things begin to describe maybe a process that's happening to you where sin is reigning in you. And I think this verse wants to say it's reigning in you because you're presenting yourself to it. It's like you're saying, here I am, take over me. Imagine that you have a car and you're like, here, you drive it, right? And I think that these verses are meant to help you realize that's what's happening. And so maybe do something different. Maybe it's possible to do something different. It's possible for this being that you are to be presented for something much better. In fact, you are meant for something much better because you're not under law, but under grace. And I think we can't speak enough about the power of grace to free us from all those things.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I feel in terms of as we were talking about it and discussing it, specifically the instruments for unrighteousness and instruments for righteousness. I automatically thought of a knife. Yeah. And here's why. I mean, typically when someone thinks of instruments, probably thinking of the little drumsticks or some type of thing musically. But I was thinking of an actual knife. And shout out to my wife, Celeste. If you're watching, baby, I love you. Shameless plug for Celeste Kitchen and Catering.
Check it out.
But she's in the kitchen, right? And she's using a knife and she's cutting up the chicken, she's cutting up the vegetables, and that instrument can be used for food, right? And it can be used for something good to make this grand feast that she loves to make, right? But that knife can also be used for, I thought of a serial killer, growing up, I watched a lot of horror movies, scary movies, right? Michael Myers and Halloween and all that type of stuff. And that dude,
thanks.
You nothing like that?
No, not down for that.
You look pretty scary. You would be scared of it.
What do I need to watch that?
but he would have a knife and he would go around and torturing people and killing people and stuff, right? You know, yeah, it's kind of one of them things. But as you can see, like that knife is an instrument and it could be used for righteousness, like making great food, but it can also be used for killing people, right? Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about in just terms of our bodies being instruments. And I think this kind of gets into, you know, the idea of just worship, right? How we worshiping the Lord with our bodies versus, you know, obviously
what's empowering
worshiping
that,
Satan.
Our bodies don't have to do what our bodies sometimes tell us we have to do.
Yeah.
That they are.
Don't let it boss you around.
Well, yeah, I mean, the power of God, the power of the gospel, God's grace to us in and through Jesus Christ, frees us to worship God, and that frees us from the ways in which sin dominates over us.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Pastor B, as you can see, a lot of stuff here, a lot of good stuff. But as you read the text, as you read the Bible, sometimes it's good to just reflect on self-examination. Examine yourself. As Pastor B said, get out of yourself and look, man, how does this really apply to me? And what does it look like for me? What are the emotions and the feelings that I have as I read a particular text? And this is one of the texts, along with many texts in the Bible, that you can do that with. So, well, that's going to conclude our time in RCC Studies. I am John. This is Pastor V. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our page. And if this video is helpful to you in any type of way. So with that, we are done. Love God, love people. We are out. Peace.